Hey there, this is Coach Ashley with AttractWell. Welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. We are typically live on Thursdays at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time on Zoom. However, this week we are at a conference in person and are unable to be here live with you, but we will be back live same time next week. But I have filmed this little bonus video for you to give you some training this week and also share with you an exciting new update to one of the built-in features in AttractWell. So today we're going to talk about how you can feature your blog content on website pages in AttractWell. Now, this is something that you may have been aware that you could do previously, but there were some limitations to it that we have since removed. So we're going to get into what that looks like, and I'm going to show you some live editing of a real customer website with AttractWell so that we can really make the most of this feature. So today we're going to use the page section templates to feature blog content. Again, that's something you may be familiar with if you've designed pages with AttractWell, but we're going to expand on that a little bit. And we're going to kind of discuss what it looks like and share an example of a custom blog-centric page for your site, meaning a page that shows a great deal of content from your blog. And then we'll talk about some basic blog practices, best practices to make this work, okay? So if you want to join us on an upcoming live call, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours. We'll be on the list so that you can hear from us when it's time to go live. You'll learn about what we'll be talking about next every week. And of course, you'll be the first to receive replays and any resources that go with them. If you'd like to work together live, we do dedicate the second half of these hour-long calls to working together. You can go to attractwell.com/work review to reserve that space to work on whatever you'd like with us. And if you would like to hand off some work, you can do that as well. You can go to attractwell.com/concierge to connect with our team and get a quote for your project. So I'm curious, if you're watching this, maybe leave a comment. Are you creating and sharing content with AttractWell? Are you putting together blog posts? Are you maybe creating vlogs on YouTube and putting those videos into your blog? Or maybe you're creating podcasts and using your AttractWell blog to showcase your show notes and other resources to gain more visibility and traction on your website, while also, of course, promoting your podcast content. So what I want to show you first is we have this section template. There's actually several of them. When you go into pages, which I will show you here shortly, we go into pages in AttractWell, you have the ability to add sections to your page, and those sections come with templates. And one of them is a recent blog post template like this one. I've titled it Recent Episodes here for our friend Sonia's podcast, which she updates on her AttractWell blog. And you can see that down here in the bottom left corner, this is what it looks like in the editor. There are simply these tags that say blog 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. image, blog 1, 2, 3, 4 button. And there's also another one that you're not seeing here that comes in automatically that is the blog title. Which we've chosen not to include here because she's actually including the title of these blog posts on the images that she's using here. All right, so it looks really nice. You can choose to have just the images, which I'll show you how to do that here in just a bit. The images are automatically hyperlinked, so you don't have to have the button here, but depending on whether or not you are including episode information or blog title information on the image itself, you may choose to retain the title and the button as well, right? So if your featured image doesn't have text on it, for instance. So what we're doing in this case is in a page, we are adding a section, right? So you click the little plus button between sections and you get to add a section. And this is one called Recent Blog Posts. And you have multiples to choose from based on how you would like for this to appear. These are all mobile responsive. So you can actually choose to have this wherever you'd like on your site. And then, of course, once you've got that in, it'll show up kind of like this. But here's the cool thing. Previously, you could only display the latest 4 blog posts in your system. Well, now you can do way more than that. So if you want to show maybe the latest 12 or 36, you can do that all right here on your site, right? Now, obviously, I wouldn't want to have more than just 4 in an individual section. And I'll show you how we can actually build out more when we're actually editing Sonia's podcast page here in just a moment. But all you have to do is just add more of these sections or duplicate the one that you've modified to your liking, and then just change the number. That's it. So where it says 1, you change it to 5, 2, change it to 6, 3, change it to 7, 4, change it to 8. And now you've got the latest 8 recent blog posts, or in her case, podcast episodes, showing up wherever you would like for them to show up on a page on your site. And again, if you don't want the title to appear or you don't want the button to appear, you can simply delete these bracketed sections here, and it will only show that image. And again, the image will be hyperlinked. So again, if you're using the formatting that Sonia is using for her podcast featured images, which basically display all of the relevant information about the podcast episode title and thus the blog post title, you really don't have to have the additional stuff here. You can just have the image. So this is what it would look like, right? So on Sonia's site, we're going to actually go and set it up. So maybe the latest 16 episodes, or 16 blog posts in this case, are going to display on her podcast page. And this is what it actually will look like if we use this same setting. So if we do this, this is what will show up, right? For her anyway, because she's following some best practices. So let's talk about what those best practices are before we go and build this on that page. So first, we want to make sure that we have consistent branding established for our content. So how we title our posts, you'll notice here in Sonia's, she's got episode numbers, for instance, and she's also got titles, and they're all fairly consistent, right? So she'll have sort of a main title, a colon, and a subtitle, and sometimes it's just a main title, but it's all pretty straightforward. She's using a lot of keywords here. Of course, that matters for her in her search results for her podcast, right? So she's very consistent. Whatever you choose to do, just make sure that you're consistent. You'll also notice that the imagery here is consistent, right? There's the same size of the same size of the blue line up at the top. You can see she's recently shifted into including the title of her podcast with the episode number, which is fine, but it's staying consistent. When she makes a change, she's sticking with it, right? So be consistent with your post titles and those featured images. And that's what those were actually. So when you create a blog post in AttractWell, there is a section a little further down past your blog content where you can add a featured image. If you want to use this feature where you're displaying your latest blog post content on your pages, you really got to make sure you're using featured images, right, on every single blog post. So make sure that the size of them, style you're using, the use of text stays consistent throughout. I highly recommend just having a Canva template that you just use over and over and over again, right? So just make a copy and then save that image. And then you can actually have, a historical, outline of all of the things that you've created if you ever needed to use an old one again, or you could just keep reusing the same one. And then also before you, start adding, 6, 8, 12 viewable latest blog posts on your pages, make sure you actually have 6, 8, 12 blog posts to share and show, right? So make sure you have enough content ready before publishing these page sections or these entire pages that are featuring your content. And then you might even consider, as the one that I'll be sharing with you, maybe creating a standalone page for this particular collection of sections if you plan to feature content elsewhere on your website, so that you can copy this in on any page. And that's actually what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how she had this set up previously, that we're going to create a standalone sort of blog post feature section that we can copy in to the page that we want. All right, so let's go and see this in action. We are in Sonia's AttractWell account here. Just so you know, this is the page that we're focused on. Her whole brand is really focused around her podcast content. So she's calling this the College and Career Ready podcast. Now she does have offerings, right? She does do courses and programs, etc. But the main thing that she's doing, that she's putting herself out there with, is her podcast. So you can see here, this is her podcast page, which is different from her homepage. Right, so she's got her homepage here where she does talk about the podcast, and then of course we've got our blog, our podcast page here. She does have her blog digest, where you can actually see all of the recent posts that she's created. But yeah, let's get into this. All right, so here's our podcast page. The podcast is embedded here, which is great. We've got a place where we can sign up to get updates for the podcast. Also awesome. And then finally, we've got a section right here where we've got 4 recent episodes. So what we want to do is create a recent episodes section down here that is much more extensive than just the most recent 4, so that we can really showcase what she's been working on. So to do that, we're going to come over here to pages and we're going to create a new one. I'm going to go add right here. And I'm going to go to blank because I'm actually going to build this from page section templates. So here we go, blank page. I'm going to click the plus here and I'm going to go right here to recent blog posts. And here is our 4-column blog post. So this is what it looks like right out of the gate. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need it. And here I'm going to say recent episodes because she's actually using her blog to showcase her recent podcast episodes. All right, so as we mentioned previously, she has text in the featured images for her blog posts, featured images for her blog posts. And as such, we don't need to have titles here. So I'm just going to go through and delete the title tags. I'm also going to go and delete the button tags. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we already have a hyperlink on the images. So I'm just going to go and backspace under all of these. And let's just go take a quick, oh, you see what I did there? Sometimes you go in and you mess things up. Even I do that. All right, so I'm just going to start that over and I'm not going to do as much of the backspacing. So watch me mess up live and then fix it. Okay, so I'm just going to hover over the entire section so I can edit it. I'm going to delete the just this text. So highlight, delete, highlight, delete. You can see the cursor winds up in the center there at the bottom. That's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to do that for our titles. All right, great. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to drag up. There we go. Beautiful. So this is recent episodes. Spell that correctly. All right, now see that actually has just a not quite the spacing that I'd like. So what I'm going to do here is edit element styles. I'm going to grab maybe this section. Now I'm going to grab the top one and I'm going to add some padding to the bottom of it. Well, that's not doing what I want it to do. What is it? That's the top. There we go, on the bottom. So you see how the line is moving down a bit. So you get a little bit more control here than you do when you're just hitting enter. All right, so that's done. Let's go take a quick preview of this. Beautiful, right? That looks good. Now, let's create more of these. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to give this, do you see how she uses white as the background for these? And the section background is white as well. And I kind of want these to pop out a little bit. I want them to stand out a little bit more. So let's give the section background here a color like she has on her website. And matter of fact, let me come over here and see what is this color. I'm going to just I'm going to move this to another screen or another window. And I'm actually going to use my color picker here to go and grab the color that she's using on the top section of this page. There we go. All right, so now that I've got that, let's go look at this and see if we like it. I do. This is good, right? It actually provides a sort of a break here in the flow. That looks nice. All right, so now what we're going to do is, now that we've got this the way we like it, we are going to duplicate it. Ooh, look at that. All right, now we have a couple things we need to do here. First things first, we're still in our editor, element editor. Let me grab that recent episodes one. I'm going to remove that padding that we inserted because we need to get rid of this guy right here. So I'm going to go to the content editor, click on this, and I'm going to delete him. hit delete a few times there. And now we can see that this is here. Now let's just go and see what they look like when they're next to each other. And this is going to be repetitive because we haven't changed the numbers yet. So we've got some spacing there. I would kind of like for there to be a little less space between these. So let's take a look at the padding in this top section here, the bottom padding. And we do see that there is a little bit here. I'm going to shrink that down a bit. So we've got that down to 9. Let's see if we like that a little more. I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to go and make sure that the bottom padding in this section is also down to 9. So let me just move that up 9. There we go. And now I'm going to go in and edit the content here. So we want this to display them in order. So this one is going to be, if we did 4, this one will be 5. And actually I can just grab this whole thing and change each of these. So here is 6 and 7 and 8. Let's take a look at that. Awesome. All right. So you can actually see that this is mobile responsive, which is great. As well here on mobiles, or on that was tablet and mobile. So again, if this is set up the way that we want to see it, and I kind of want to see if I can delete this space up here at the top. It's still kind of giving me this, here we go, this guy right here I'm going to get rid of. Because do you see that break right there? That's this BR that you see here. That is what this is. And we can't just simply do a backspace to get rid of it, or we might wipe out some of our other code in here that we want. So I'm just going to delete this guy from bracket to bracket. And then let's see how we look. Oh, this might be a lot better. Okay, so here, again, because I don't want to really have much in the way of padding between, or I want minimal, right? I don't want a bunch of extra space. Let me see, I can just hit delete and just get rid of anything that's in here that I don't want. Let me see, is there anything in here? Check that code view again. Yeah, there's that break again that I don't want. Get rid of him. Okay. Sometimes it just helps to play around with this. And again, I'm not a coder. I'm unqualified to speak to this. Let me try just deleting that. Aha, there we go. Got rid of him. That's what we wanted. All right, so now what we want to do is I'm going to double check our code here one more time. Or actually, I'm just going to hover over and you can see that there is not space above or below these. So it's all quite minimal. Let's check the bottom padding on this section. There is none. There's 20 on the top, which is good. Let's take a look at this. This is just before we start deleting that, replicating this 4-part section here. All right, so because I want them to be really even. Let me go ahead and remove any additional bottom padding here, or at least shrink that, or that's our top padding. Yeah, I'm going to remove the top padding and only have like a 9-pixel bottom padding. Okay, see, that's what I want. All right, so now I can duplicate this and let's go in and let's change the numbers here. So let's just highlight this entire section here. And so this one will be 9 and 10. We'll go through 12. Fabulous. And let's do this one more time. And we will, again, we're going to highlight all of them. So just kind of move your cursor over until you get that full box there. And then this will be 13 through 16. Okay. Now, again, we can go take a look here and see what it looks like on desktop. I'm loving it. Look at that. Oh, that's so good. Definitely check it out here. Make sure that the spacing is good. That's our tablet view. Fantastic. And then, of course, here is our mobile view. Excellent here as well. All right, great. So now that we've got this done, we're going to actually use this in a few different places on the site. But we're just today, and she can obviously choose to do a bit more with this if she'd like. I'm going to add just a little bit more padding to the top of the top section and the bottom of the bottom section, because this is going to get inserted onto web pages, and we want this to kind of look nice and clean as its own space. All right, so I'm going to go and save this. This is going to be a blog feature page section. That's what I'm going to title it. It's going to be available by link only. It will not have a header or footer because we're actually using this to insert into other pages using the copy in feature. So I'm going to save this. We're going to go back to pages. We're going to go find that podcast page. Here we go. And now we can go and insert the work that we just did into the bottom of this page. Now, she obviously has a podcast. You may choose to maybe make the homepage of your website one that features your blog content more prominently. You can do the same thing that I've just shared with you here. So let me scroll on down. Here's her recent episodes, one that she has. I'm not going to get rid of this because I see that she was working on putting a search bar in here. So just in case she wanted to preserve this top part, I'll keep that there. But I'm going to hit plus right here because I want this to show up at the bottom. And then there's this copy in another page. Here, I'm going to type in a blog feature page section that we just created. I'm going to go copy in, and there's all that work that we just did. Now, when we go and preview this page on Sonia's site, you'll be able to see all of those recent episodes right here. And the cool thing is if you wanted to have recent episodes, a section like this on your About Me page, if you wanted to have it on another page entirely, you can easily pop it right in without having to redesign it. And importantly as well, if for whatever reason you decided that a section like this needed a redesign, you could simply go to that page we just created, and then you can go and delete these sections where they show up, and then do that copy in like we just did to replace this with the new content everywhere. And that's going to save you a ton of time, keep things up to date. And of course, these will always reflect the most recent first, second, third, etc. And of course, I think at this point, this goes up to like 36. If you need more, just reach out to our team. Greg is really great about getting all of that set up and accommodated. So let's just go take a look at this. We'll publish it, and we should now see that down here at the bottom, there are all of these recent episodes. So maybe I want to click on this one, episode 49. We can see here's our title. It's reflected here in this featured image. She's got her embedded podcast here, which is great. She's got a lot of great copy here. She's linking off to important places. That backlinking is really important, both for you linking to authoritative sites, and of course, bonus if they link to you. She's got a call to action to check out her program and more. So this is really awesome. She's doing such a great job. And of course, now she can center her work with her podcast episodes and these blog posts more effectively by using this feature. Guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you will go and create a page like this one that you can embed into other parts of your site. And of course, I look forward to being back here with you live next week, 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Let me know what you want to learn about next. We may create a training just for you. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time.